Don't laugh at my map, Louis. Today, we are heading from Messina in the far north of South Africa, across Botswana to Nata first, Nata, Maun, and then across to Windhoek. It's going to take us 3 days to travel 1,800 kilometers, and we're on our way to Namibia to check out free-range beef. I hope everyone's on the same route. I can imagine as we go into Botswana.
There are no back roads. Botswana is
the
one
big back road. Okay. Okay, let's hit the road.
Human evolution. It kicked off for us when we were little more than scavengers. We lived off the land, learned to hunt and gather, all the while trying our very best not to be eaten. As time ticked by, we moved up the food chain and got smart, or so we thought. Nowadays, well, we rely on others to produce our food, and we do most of our hunting and gathering in supermarkets, unaware that our eating habits are having a massive impact not only on us, but on the environment as well. My name is Justin Bonello, and this is my journey to find out where the food I eat actually comes from.
After 1,800 kilometers and 2.5 days on the road, we're about to arrive at Sonia and Mike Kibble's farm, Progress, just out of Windhoek. And I can promise you one thing, everyone, to a man and a woman, only wants to do this.
How are you, Justin?
Good, thanks.
Well.
Nice to meet you, yes.
There's 2 double rooms there, and there's 2 double rooms over here. So you guys can sort it out where you'd like to stay.
That'll be perfect. I had full intentions of having an afternoon siesta, but Mike and Sonia are making biltong. And it's been one of my dreams to learn how to make biltong. And in case you don't know what biltong is, Americans call it jerky. That's not biltong. It's dried beef or cured beef, marinated beef. You're going to check it out. Sonia, we're making biltong. Biltong. Yes. She said, I forget it's a working farm and that everything's like still carrying on as per usual.
The meat room.
Yes. Watter vleis is hierdie een?
Hartebeest.
Hartebeest.
Red fat hartebeest. That's Johanna.
Hallo Johanna, aangename kennis. Lekker vir jou te ontmoet.
I sent the hunters out to get me something.
You don't get more free range than that.
And game hasn't got a lot of intramuscular fat, which is why it is very healthy.
And then what? We just cut it into fillets?
Yes.
Johanna, what spices are you using?
This is the biltong spice that we bought from Hartley's. Everything is in there already, coriander, salt, pepper, and then a little bit of Worcester sauce. It's only for the taste, a little bit of vinegar. And this is garlic flakes that I minced with the chilies, so it's, you get chili biltong.
And that's it, done?
Yes, and then it's done until tomorrow.
So then we marinate that overnight and then we hang it out to dry?
I first have to feed the dogs and then I will hang the meat, yes.
Put it in the rack.
Okay. How amazing was that? It was thrown straight in with Johanna, cutting, chopping, cleaning, wham, bam, biltong in 4 days. And I finally get to do nothing for the rest of the day, which is probably not a bad thing. Sun's about to drop, but tomorrow morning we carry on with my story of free-range cattle, because tomorrow morning, 5:30, we're getting up to drive through and see feedlot cattle, because you can't talk free-range without viewing feedlot. And then you can check how we produce our food. It's 5:30 in the morning and we've just left Progress Farm to travel through to a feedlot. And it's 3 degrees Celsius, and I did mention that it's 5:30 in the morning. Jeez. This is a small feedlot, about 5,000 cattle. A normal-sized feedlot can be over 100,000 cattle. How's it, Frikkie? Justin Bonello, goeiemorgen. Well, let's go take a look.
Yeah, I think we can
let's
go through.
walk and talk. So how old are these here then?
We have a capacity of 5,000 cattle.
Yeah.
More than 50% of them are younger than 2 years.
Yeah.
Here you will see, okay, this is cattle that arrived last night. Today we will do the processing on them,
Yeah.
do all the vaccinations and give them all the injections and doses before we put them in the kraals. As a kraal stand like that, we slaughter the whole kraal.
In one go.
We are not searching for correct cattle, only if it's after 90 days. If it's not ready, it still have to go.
Where do you get your cattle from then?
Some of the farms are not big enough so that they can maintain a cow herd, and they wean them and then sell them to the feedlot. On grazing only, then it took you about 2.5 years to get it ready for the 230 kilo. Where it took them another year, 12 months, they sell it to us, and within 3 months we make it slaughter ready. Yeah, that's correct.
We're very efficient, eh?
Hopefully. Try to.
Sure.
We have different stages of feed. We have a starter for 2 weeks. Then we have a grower 1 for 2 weeks. And then we go over to grower 2 for 1 month, 30 days. And then the final stage is a finisher till the end of slaughter.
What else is in here then?
Maize and wheat bran, hominy chop, a bit of molasses, and we have HPC. It contains urea soya oil cake, but that is a protein concentrate.
Okay, so I mean the feed on that side will start off mainly grass.
Grass is a big component at the starter. If you go to the finisher, we listen the grass.
Is grass more expensive or doesn't fatten them up as quickly?
Grass is available for us cheap and locally. They must have grass. But if you take it through the stages, then you can take out the grass.
And they learn quickly how to char the different stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose they look at it as food. And then we look at them as food.
Yeah, it's only food.
They're inquisitive, eh?
Yeah.
Sniffing us out.
Yeah. Sometimes you go and they just want to play, jump all around. They are like people.
I'm just absorbing all of this, Ricky. Oh. Something to wrap your head around, you know, when you eat your steak or your fillet and things, you know, you don't see it like this in many respects,
No,
you know?
no, not at all, not at all.
You know, what I'm doing today, I think, is what everyone should do, to stand in a space surrounded by, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 cattle and know that every single one of these animals with the big brown eyes is going to go to an abattoir, be slaughtered and eaten at some point. It's quite something, eh? You know, again, you're so disassociated. When you buy it in a supermarket and it's shrink wrap packaged, it's not a live, living, breathing animal. But every single one of the animals here is. The worst thing I've heard so far, though, is when Fricky's telling me about a cow that came in here that was obviously hand-reared. And he said to me that it's the hard ones. The free-range cattle, you don't mind, they can go to abattoir, but the hand-reared ones come up to you and they want the attention because they're used to it. And that's when it sinks in that these cattle are alive.
That was a small feedlot. But to see the end of the line of those cattle, we have to go to the abattoir. So if you're squeamish, change the channel now. If you're a realist and want to know where your meat comes from, keep on watching. Doc, what's that smell?
Animals.
Animals.
Yeah.
Animals. It's like you can smell it from outside already. It's not the first time we've been in an abattoir. The process is always the same. Take off all your jewelry, anything loose that can fall into the processing plant. Put on gumboots, coats, beards, hair masks. It's almost cleaner than our hospitals are.
Hello, Rosie. Nice to meet you. My name's Justin. You're lucky you don't have to wear one of these.
No, I don't have a mustache. You know, my background is the quality assurance manager.
So when you mean you do quality control, would you want to walk me through it?
Basically, quality assurance, we ensure consistency.
Yeah.
So that's why when you see the carcass on the other end there, where it starts, it's a complete carcass, and coming all the way down by the end, it's completely diminishing along the way. Every person on the line is doing the same thing over and over, and that is for consistency. Another important aspect of quality assurance is the combination of quality on one side and also the food safety. So you will find that people are consistently washing their hands. There's a washing basin there.
It's like working in a kitchen.
In the kitchen, hygiene is a very important aspect. I still stand in awe when I look at the speed at which they are working. These people are so skilled. They go so fast with that knife.
And I can see that all the different cuts are on different tables. It's amazing to me. The meat comes in the one side. By the end of the line, it's all gone. Just can't comprehend the business of meat, the result of billions of people eating meat. This isn't a cow slaughtered in the field. This is tons and tons and tons and tons of meat being processed for you and I. Hello. So we spent too much time at the feedlot, and because they only had a small group of cattle to slaughter today, we missed it. And you can already see that the whole place is being cleaned down. And as much as I don't want to see this, I have to see it. So I've got to come back in. That's really what it is. So tomorrow is Saturday, the next day is Sunday. On Monday morning, I got to come back. Well, we're almost back at Mike and Sonia's farm, and after feedlots and abattoirs, all I really want is some wide open spaces. No more industrial technology and how clever the human species can be, just wide open spaces. There are only 4 types of cows on our planet. The first one is the sacred cow, which is, if you're a cow, it's what you want to be. It means you get to die a natural death. The second type is a dairy cow, which is a great life if you're not a male and if you produce a lot of milk. Otherwise, you become pet food. The third cow is the feedlot cow, and you've seen that today. And then the fourth option is the free-range cow. Now that's, out of all of them, beyond a sacred cow, is the best life. It means for 36 months you get to live out here. And at this point, you haven't even seen a free-range cow. They're here. Somewhere in this 8,000 hectares. So tomorrow morning, we're going to go out with Mike and find the free-range cattle. Hello, hoe gaat het met you?
Thanks. I'm
Good.
okay. No.
I'm sorry I missed the biltong, but you have to show me what's going on. We've been out all day. No ways, it's already hanging. And you can smell it.
Monday it will be ready, eh?
Really, eh?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that the biltong will be air dried and ready in 4 days, just in time for when we leave. Thank you. Thank you. It's just after 7 on a crisp Namibian morning, and we are on our way out into one of the camps for dehorning, tagging, part of the necessary procedure of being a free-range or cattle farmer, in fact.
Because it's early morning,
Yeah.
typically you will not find them at the water. So of course the water's a long way, it's up there. We're going to walk them, try and get behind them, and they know where they should go, so we just hope it's going to work like this.
Sure. Okay, well, I'll give a hand. Imagine growing up here and then being put into a feedlot where you're in a space, what, 1,000 square meters, chalk and cheese. You know, the feedlot is somewhat heartbreaking when you're in that space. To see them like this is amazing, you know? They're free and wild until harvested.
Part of the reason of having a fan meat tag is they introduced it about 3-4 years ago. And, you know, it's just a traceability of where your beef is going to, what's happening. They can trace it back right to your farm. Exactly. They get a steel tag with a punch mark in. In the event that you should lose one of the tags, you've always got a backup. It's really important that fan meat tags get put on at an early age.
And now the horns.
It's very important to do the dehorning really correctly, thoroughly. It makes it more difficult to work them in the crusher, loading them on the cattle trucks. So it's really important that the process is done properly.
Listen, as a kid you get circumcised. You don't even remember being circumcised.
Oh,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's, is it any different?
No.
There you go, bud. There you go. In your mind, when you eat food, meat, in your head it's free range and it lives a lacquer life and things like that. And it's not the truth. Most of what we eat is not brought up in an environment like this, but you think it is. So in your mind, you're happy to eat the meat. You go Sunday afternoon, let's have a braai with a couple of mates. You go and buy a nice piece of meat, you chuck it on the braai. Look on that packet of meat, and it's nothing. It doesn't say where it comes from, what they fed it, where it lived, how it was slaughtered, nothing. This whole thing with grain-fed, extra marbling and all of that, we've had the wool pulled over our eyes. It's good for you. It's better. It tastes better. It's
Mainly feedlot,
absolute
yeah.
hogwash. You're used to that taste because you've been fed it for so long.
Yeah.
And then you're not even thinking about the impact on the environment, how that cow's lived. Your morals and ethics are absolutely, utterly up to BS. If you put them out free range in an environment like this, that's how they're supposed. They're supposed to eat grass, man.
You actually taste that meatness. You've got that texture.
You know, and it goes beyond ethics though. You know, it's not like you're just having the antibiotics and things like that. When I was at that feedlot yesterday, I mean, just walking the cattle in this morning, it's like a whole different energy. You know, these are, yes, we're going to eat them, but they're alive. And until we kill them and slaughter them and things like that, we actually have an obligation to give them a lacquer life as possible.
They get given a great life here.
It's the way it should be.
That's
it's the natural order of systems.
What you see here is what you get.
I think the cows are relatively straightforward. They come down with their calves to water in the morning, which is what made seeing them easy. But somewhere out here are the oxen, and we're going to have to look for them.
"11 o'clock, the bad boys of the beef industry are coming in for water. Because they're free range, they virtually are wild again. So they're very suspicious of me. This is really beginning to feel like a wild goose chase. Every time we get within 30 meters, they look up at you, they go, don't know what you are, wandering around the bush looking for oxen. Did we walk that far? Rump running over the hill and disappearing over the vale. I mean, they're actually completely wild. They're like feral, you know? I never thought I'd be chasing cattle through thorny scrub. It's gone like that. It looks like a scout checks you out and they watch you. So as you walk closer and closer and closer to them, they work either further away from you or they keep an eye on you until they feel uncomfortable and then they bolt. And that's it, and they're gone. I'm going to have to ask Mike if there's an easier way to see these oxen in what has become their natural environment, because These pins ain't keeping up with them. It's just after 5:30 in the morning and we're driving from one of Mike's farms to the next one to see if we can find some free-range oxen. Oh, wow. I see them, I mean, they're door and gone, eh?
Yeah, they move. I mean, it's big country here, you know.
Sure.
So
Oh, I can see them on the top of the ridge there.
here's actually an ox standing. Here's oxen right here.
Oi.
Right here. Yeah.
Wait.
I didn't even see them.
Oh, you can see.
Here's some oxen.
Should we take a stroll down there?
Yeah. Let's take a stroll.
It's quite strange. Yesterday I felt like I was hunting them. You know? You'd think you'd hunt a cow. In your mind, they don't run from you, you know?
That's it, yeah.
Now check here, it's beautiful, eh?
I think let's just stand like this.
I mean, I didn't realize up until yesterday that cattle run. Do you know what I mean? Everything you see of them, they're docile, they're walking along and things.
Yeah.
These guys were and gone. Oh, they're beautiful. Like you can already see, they frisk like that. I guess underneath this domestic veneer that you see with these oxen is still a wild animal. Every time you move, their ears prick up. You can see them lifting their snouts up to sniff the air, and who am I intruding into their space? We don't imagine that we're eating feedlot cattle. In our heads, this is the cow you think you eat every time you buy a steak or a hamburger. And it couldn't be further from the truth. If it doesn't say free range, it's not. So my time on Progress Farm with Mike and Sonia is coming to an end. And if you're going to check out free range beef, you got to eat it as well. So that's what we're going to do. So now I've just put a rub on them with garlic, coriander, mustard seeds, black pepper, salt. That's it. And you push it and you rub it on. Then on a very hot fire, you seal it all the way around. You can imagine that it just cooks that first half a centimetre all the way around.
Okay, so that you did over there on
Over there on that side.
Okay.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them open. The one I'm going to stuff with caramelized onions, some of your truffles, and some garlic. And I'm going to tie it up and then we're going to bake it in there. And then the other two I'm going to stuff with spinach, garlic, cream, butter, tie it up and then bake it in there. And then when they come out...
Oh, that's super, eh?
Simple.
Don't you want to work for me on safari?
Sure, bud, sure.
I need somebody.
A cook. I'll teach him then, because the two of you hang together all the time, man. Okay, let me go do the other donkey work and I'll see you guys now. I've spent the whole of today thinking about what I'm going to say right here, right now. And it all snapped into place for me when I realized that we were having our Sunday dinner. And traditionally, Sunday dinners are a get-together with your family and friends, a celebration of life, a celebration of the animal that you're eating. So when you buy your food, you should be asking where it comes from and what's in it. Because if it doesn't say it on the label, if it doesn't say free range, no antibiotics, no growth hormones, chances are that it's all there and you're eating it. And that old adage about you are what you eat couldn't be more true. The truth is that I wanted to show you the other side of how our meat is produced, and that's the abattoir, but I don't believe this is the right place to do that. The message that I wanted you to get out of the show was, if you're going to eat meat, make sure that it's free range, make sure that it's drug free, because if you don't, you're eating all that other stuff and you're contributing to a much bigger problem, which is the unethical and amoral production of meat. Listen, I still want you to watch this, but I want you to go online and watch it.
But for now, I want you to think more about where does your meat actually come from? Because if you don't, you're contributing to a much bigger problem.